Hi, all y'all amazing folks on YouTube. Crafty Jenny here, and today I'm going to be making a kind of dedication slash thank you video for a YouTuber called Brian Barczyk. He owns and runs it's called the Reptarium. It is in Detroit, Michigan. What he does is he owns these amazing reptiles, these amazing snakes and lizards and turtles and just a wonderful array of animals, and he takes absolutely amazing care of them, and he breeds them and sells the babies or keeps quite a few of them also, and he just does an amazing job. He loves really encouraging people to follow their dreams and do what they've always wanted to do, no matter if they think they may fail at it or not. If it's something that they've always wanted to do, then do it. So that's why I'm actually starting my own YouTube channel. It's because it's something I wanted to do for almost a few years now, and with his words of encouragement, it made me want to start. So what I'm going to be doing is building a kind of an enclosure, I guess you would say, for one of his amazing animals. Kind of a miniature enclosure. I'm going to use this glass candle holder that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to set it like this and use it as an enclosure. I'm going to do like a rocky background with ledges for the snake to crawl on. I'm going to do like a special kind of bedding. I'm going to make a tree with little leaves, make some little vines going in it, and then I will make the snake in the part 2 video, because this is going to take a while just to do this part. So what we need to do is mix up the colors we need for our rocks and our water bowl and our tree and our leaves. So first I want to mix for the water bowl and maybe one or two of the rocks, not sure yet how many. So you take a little bit of black and a little bit of white of your polymer clay. We're definitely using polymer clay for this because you can hard it in the oven. And you mix it together until you get kind of a marble looking effect. Just keep folding it over and over and over until you get the desired effect you want, the desired color you want. You see that wonderful swirl? This side actually looks better than the other. This is how I want the whole thing to look. And once you get that, you can set the clay that you've already mixed in an empty container so it doesn't have possibility at all of drying out, which polymer clay doesn't do that too bad, but you want to be on the safe side. Then we need to get to the leaf color. So what I'm going to do is take some of this, I kind of call it a neon green color, and a little bit of black, just to darken it up and make it more of a natural green that you see in the wild, not neon green. So you just mix it all up together really, really good until you get all blended. And yeah, green kind of comes off on your fingers a little, so you have to be very careful with that, not to get green when you're mixing a different color onto it, not to have any transfer over onto a different color. And that is the color that I'm going for. You can tell the difference with that green. It's definitely darker, more natural looking. But I think it looks a whole lot better than that for leaves. So next we want to do is one of our rock colors. I'm going to do couple at least. I may change my mind and do another one later on, but for right now I'm just going to do a couple. Oh, yeah. I'll be right back after I wash my hands so I don't get any green onto the rock color. Okay, now that I am green free, it's time to mix the first rock color. The first one I want to do kind of a lighter shade, nothing too dark. For that you want the tan, the light brown, and just a smidgen of the dark brown. Just a dab, a little dab will do ya. And then you want to mix all of these together and swirl them around. You want them almost completely mixed, but just with a tad bit of swirl, not too much. As soon as I get that mixed up, I will be right back. And this is what you end up with once you mix all of them together. And it came out really pretty color. So let's put that in our container and move on to the next color. The next color we want is just a little bit of a darker version of what we just made. So what you want to do is take some of your darker brown, a little bit of your light brown, and a small amount of black. And you want to mix all of these together. Like I said earlier, like I said with the last rock color, mix them almost all the way together. You can leave a little swirl if you want. And when I get that done, I'll be back. And here is the darker, I about to say darker tree color, no. Darker rock color, the darker brown. I think it came out really pretty also. So we'll stick it in here. And now we have to mix for the tree. And that you definitely want to leave swirl in it to give it a grainy wood texture. So what you do is you take some of the dark brown and you kind of flatten it out, kind of a flat noodle shape. Then you take light brown and you do the same. You flatten it out into like a flat noodle type shape that kind of fit on top. Then you take some of the tan and you do the same. You kind of flatten it out. You want a little bit less of each color as you go. Like you want more of the dark brown, a little bit less of the light brown, and then a little bit less of the tan. And then you want to do a twisting motion, and then you want to fold them on top of each other. Just keep folding and folding and folding until you get your desired swirl pattern. It'll take me a minute or two, and once I get it done, I'll show you what it looks like. And this is the color that you'll get when you mix the colors up for the tree. And I kind of still like having this marbly looking pattern. It kind of mimics a tree better, in my opinion. And next what you want to do is take whatever you're going to build your environment in and measure how approximately, you want to leave a little room on each side for the clay that you're going to put around inside of it for the background. So you don't have to, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. You want it a little bit shorter. You want to measure it to where you get it close to what you need. And then take wire cutters and cut off about like that. This should work. And then you can take just kind of make sure it's not, which, yep, it's going to be a little bit too long. So we want to cut a little bit more off. Always be careful with your fingers when you're cutting with anything. And always make sure you get your tools closed back in a safe position. And that should be good. You want enough room on both sides for your clay that you're going to put around to make the rock. And then once you get that done, you want to take some type of thinner wire to make a couple, 2 or 3 little branches coming off, depending on how many you want. It really just depends on your personal preference. I kind of like having 3, but sometimes I only do 2. You want them not too long, but not too short. You want to make sure that you wrap them around good so there's no chance of them coming loose. And then you can either like point it up, straight out, down. I kind of like point it up here. I think will look pretty. Then you want to just keep putting those wires until you get as many as you want. And when I get done with that, I'll be right back. Now that I have my 3 wires on, what you want to do is take the color of your tree color, thin it out a little, take off what you think you may need, flatten it out because you're going to have to wrap it around. And place it in. And cover it as good as you can. Take any extra off the ends. You want to shape it as good as you can, kind of like a natural tree. Skinnier in some spots, thicker in others, where it kind of looks natural. And you don't want to see any of the wires sticking out anywhere. Then you can kind of pull out the clay to get your little branches covered. And once you get all that done, you can smooth it out as much as you can. Use a tad bit of alcohol on the Q-tip and rub it over to get rid of some of the fingerprints if you don't like that look on them. And once I get the last little branch there on and get it smoothed out, I'll show you what it looks like. Now that I have it smoothed out and the last branch done and a little bit of alcohol just to remove a few of the fingerprints, you want to take just some kind of small little tool. It really doesn't matter as long as it has kind of like a little point on it. And just kind of put a few little, not too deep, just a few little scrapes here and there to kind of help with the wood texture. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing in life is perfect. Just, as long as you're happy with it, that's all that matters. And I really do hope that the people at the Reptarium enjoy what I'm making. And you want to kind of give it a little bit of a test run and see. Yep, there's still plenty of clearance for the other clay. Oop. So now I'm going to set that aside and start on our leaves for our tree. So I'll make 2 or 3 little leaves, kind of like we did the branches. Maybe 4, depending on how it looks when I get the first 2 or 3 on. You want to start out with kind of like a teardrop kind of shape. Like that. And then take your little pointy tool. Make sure there's no brown left on it. And draw kind of like the veins on the leaf.
I wanted more for my COPD medicine. That's why I got the power of 1, 2, 3 medicines with Trelegy. The only FDA approved once daily 3-in-1.
Kind of like that. Oop! But don't drop it like I did. It's okay if you drop it, actually. A little bitty drop won't hurt it. I'm very clumsy, so I end up dropping everything. And then take a little bit of your thin wire. Not too big of a piece, because you don't want it sticking out everywhere. It's already wanting to stick to the tree. And you want to stick it in this fatter end, thicker end. And then take it and put it in the tree, like that. And you want to place it kind of how you're happy with it. And I think that looks good. I'll get the next 1 or 2, maybe 3 done, depending on how I like it. And I'll be back to show you what it looks like. And here's what it looks like with the little leaves on. I think it gives it a little bit more character. I just decided to put 3. I could have put a 4th one kind of right in here or over in here, but it just didn't look right. So I'm going to stick with this. And once you get that done, of course you want, when you get all of your pieces of clay done, you want to bake it. Just buy your package. Suggestions, recommendations would be the best. And I'm considering adding more than 1 tree into my piece. I've already got a smaller one made here, and this is after baking. I think it looks really cute. So I may end up putting this in there with it, maybe 1 on each side, or 1 farther in the back and 1 up close to the front. Maybe the bigger one, once I bake it, make it like look better in the back, and the smaller one up front. Not sure yet. We'll see when we get there. And next, I want to make a watering bowl, rock bowl, for the snake that I end up making. It's a surprise. I'm not going to tell you until I start making it. It took me quite a while to decide on which of the amazing snakes that he has to do and which one to make. It took me quite a long time to decide. I'm adding a little bit more black to the gray mixture I made to hopefully get a little bit extra swirl in it. Doesn't seem to be working though. But it's okay. It'll work. What you want to do is get not really a round shape, but round-ish. Just make sure the shape you end up with is kind of natural rock shape-ish. Then you want to take some type of little tool and push in on it to give it a hole for the water. And once you get enough of a bowl-ish shape, you should be good to go. And that will go in my... Oh, nope, first have to texture it out. And to get a good rock texture, you kind of use a toothbrush all the way around, and it will, just a little bit, not too much. You don't want it like way down in there, but it's a little texture on top. Will give you a good little kind of rocky texture. And then if you want to, you can use your little sharp tool. Make sure there's no other colors on them anywhere, so you don't get any transfer. And just give a few little crevices and cracks and kind of real rock texture to it. You don't want to go too far, but you can do a little. And then you'll want to bake this like you do your tree. And then you can do the same color and make some little rocks to put in. That's already baked. And here's another little rock. I kind of mixed it up more and did like a solid gray rock. And then this one isn't quite as mixed. It's more striped. And I really like that one. So that'll be a couple little rocks that I'll put in also. And once you get that, it is time for covering the inside with your rock color. It's kind of your rock color choice. I'm going to go with this color. I really like this one. I'm going to take a chunk. And I kind of like doing the back of it first. And just smooth it out as much as you possibly can, all on the back. And I'm using a glass container so I can actually put it in the oven and bake it. That way, like if you use a plastic container and you stuck that in the oven, you'd be in a mess. It would melt everywhere. And yeah, it wouldn't be good. This way I can just kind of smush this in. And not have to worry about bringing it back in and out, baking it, and worry about it breaking or splitting. And you just do that all the way around until you have it all covered. And then you can start working on like your little ledges and stuff. And once I get the whole thing covered, I will show you what it looks like and we'll do the ledges. Once you get all but the bottom covered in your rocky textured clay, let me see if I can get a better light on that so you can see it a little better. You can see how my fingerprints gave it kind of like a rocky feel and look to it. And I think it came out really awesome. Once you get that done, what you can do it one of two ways. I kind of feel that it's easier to lay out a thin piece of your any kind of rock colored clay, bake it for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then once it cools down you can break it into pieces and use it as kind of like the ledges. And I like how this one is kind of sunken in a little, and you take it and you kind of feel where you want it. You push it into the wet clay in the back. And then you have your ledge there. And once you bake this, it will be solid in there. And yes, you can bake clay more than once. It won't hurt anything. And there's one ledge. Here's another piece of pre-baked. And there's two more ledges. And you just go in and stick them where you think they would look good. They don't have to be any rhyme or reason to it. It's just wherever you like it. And see? think it's looking awesome. Let me get a few more in here, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. And this is what I have come to really like. I absolutely love this look in it with all the ledges. I'm leaving this side empty to put the big tree in. And I think it come out really, really cool looking. So now I'm going to stick the tree in just to kind of test and see if we're at a good spot. And make sure it still fits good. And it does. There's no problems with it getting in there. And yes, there we go. It looks really cool. And that's actually where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to do something special for the bottom once this bakes, because they have to have a special bedding in the bottom. So that's how it looks for now, and I'm going to bake it, and when it's done I will let you see what it looks like. Hopefully nothing bad will happen. And it's out of the oven now. And I think it actually came out really good. Didn't have any cracks or anything. Let me turn up the exposure a little bit so you can see inside better. Ignore around it. I just want to show you inside. See all the ledges. And you can actually see the rock pattern that came in it. It came out really awesome. And now what we need to do is to glue in our water bowl and rocks right here. And then once we do that, we will put our bedding down. And we're going to glue it down because you don't want bedding flying everywhere out of it all the time. So we're definitely going to glue it down. Depending on how it looks, I may add another small tree. I kind of like it is. Once I get the rocks in and the water bowl in, we'll see if there's room, but I think I'm going to keep it like this. So to glue down the rocks in the water bowl, I'm going to use E6000. It seems to work better for me than anything else. It can be a little bit pricey, but I got this size bottle for like $2.75 at the dollar store near my house, so it wasn't horrible. And it's lasted me about a month or two, and I do quite a bit of crafting, so that's pretty good. I want to use a toothpick because I don't want it too globby, because it take way longer to dry if you have too thick of a coat, and it just wouldn't dry too good either. Take a toothpick and get some on it, put it down in there, and kind of do like that, and take your rock and put it around, and then decide where you want it. I want this one right in front of the tree. And that will have to dry now. And then the next one, I'm going to do the water bowl. Actually, no, I'm going to do this rock. And then I have to show you how we're going to make the water in the water bowl next, before we glue it in. And just a thin layer. And be careful where you sit this. I'm just going to stick it right back in my glue container until I'm ready. And this one I'm going to kind of put right there next to my tree. And that's how I like it. I like it like that. Okay. And now with this it's going to take a little while. You need to get some type of 2-part epoxy and use it and fill it not all the way up, probably 3/4 of the way up, maybe a little more. And then let that set. It will take, well, depending on how much sun you have that day, and how much heat you have, it will take, for the water bowl, you want to use a 2-part epoxy. I got this little mini instant mix from the dollar store, and it seems to work pretty good. And you want to fill it up as much as you want. I kind of like 3/4, almost to the top kind of look. And if you need to, you can take a lighter over top of it to pop any of the bubbles. But I may do it, but I kind of like this look right here. I like that. So I'm going to leave that to set. It will take probably 3 to 4 hours to set really good. And by that time, the rocks should be done being glued down. They should be in place firmly. And then I will glue this in and we'll get to the bedding. And this is what it looks like when it's done hardening. It's completely solid and it stays in. So there's our water bowl. And these rocks are completely set now. They're not going anywhere. Now I have to glue this in here. I'll find a place that it looks really nice to put it. I'm thinking about putting it back in here, right down in here, and gluing it down. Once I get that glued down, it's time for the bedding. The water bowl in there, and it looks so cute right there. It is time to put our bedding in. And I actually took a little bit of our rabbit's pine bedding. It's fine enough where it'll actually look pretty decent in there, but not too big like cedar shavings. I know it's not exactly what they use, you know, with their snakes, but I think it'll look good in here. So what you need to do, well, what I'm going to do, you could probably figure a way to do it a different way yourself, but this is how I'm going to do it. You take a little bit of glue on the toothpick and you put a little bit of glue down where you want to start. I'm going to start right here. And you take a little bit of your shavings and you press them down. And you tap out what doesn't stick. And you just keep doing this until you have the whole bottom covered with bedding. Once I get the whole complete bottom done, I'll be back. And this is what it's like when it's done with all the bedding in. I think it came out really, really awesome in there. And I love the way the pine looks with the rock and the tree and everything. I just absolutely love it. Next will be the big, big thing, making the snake. And now I've got all the bedding in, and I think it looks really good. I love the pine look, and it gives it a good smell too. So what I'm going to do is use these little viney type things. I got a whole pack of it at the Dollar Tree for $1. Like grassy, I guess grass looking things, viney looking things. So I'm going to take just a few little pieces and kind of stick them here and there to give like, there's like little vines hanging down here and there. Not too many. I don't want it taking over in there because I still have to have room for my snake. But I just want a few here and there just to give it a little more character. Kind of like that where they're hanging off the tree. And that one doesn't seem to want to stay in. I could make a very inappropriate joke about that, but I'm not going to. And now that I've got all those in that I want, we're going to be making the snake next. And since this has taken so long, and the video is probably going to end up being 20 minutes at least, we will have a part 2 of me creating the snake and putting him in his home. So make sure you look out for that. Thank y'all so much for watching. Comment if you like it. If you don't, whatever. However you feel. Just let me know if you like it or not. Subscribe to the channel. And give that video a like if you like what I made. Y'all have a wonderful day.